You're watching Pyro Media Network.
I could be running around chasing you, but I won't. Cause I got better things to do. Rather spend my precious time chasing somebody who loves me too. If I got $1 for every time you slam the door, I would be the richest girl alive, life. If you hadn't run away every time I asked you stay, you would sleep right next to me tonight. And you didn't know me, all you wanted was a game to play. And you couldn't handle that I had no ways. About your magics and your side chicks, I'm a winner.
Thank you for tuning in. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. We hope your experience is fruitful. Please feel free to visit our website to find out how you can join our growing family. While we are loading your experience, please do us a quick favor and hit that like button from whichever platform you're watching or listening on. Also, share so others may enjoy as well. And we hope you would consider hitting that subscribe or follow button so you can check out more of our amazing content. All right, let's start the show.
Victorious! Victorious! Hey. Happy Friday, Junior. I hope you're having a fabulous day. Let me just say this. It has been raining out here in Los Angeles. I don't know what happened. I went away for the weekend, the holiday weekend, and it was fine. And then all of a sudden, I'm looking on Instagram, and LA is underwater. I'm like, what is going on? What is happening? And right now, it is cold. And this is not California cold, because, for us, cold is like 60. No, it's cold. Like, what is going on? My heater was trying to heat. And I was like, are you even on? Because I don't feel what's going on. So we struggling out here. We're going to be all right, though. But nonetheless, happy Friday, Junior. Welcome back to this week's episode of Dr. Victorious, where I explore the intersections of social justice, wellness, and what it means to be fully human, Black human, because I'm Black. I'm your host, Dr. Nicole D. Vick, Dr. Victorious. So this is Black History Month, and usually y'all know I go all the way out. Like every episode of the month of February is about Black folk, but I did something a little different this time, and that's okay. I can do that because it's my show, right? You can do what you want to do when it's your stuff. So I'm going to talk about Black History Month right now, mid-month, and that's okay. And I think for us, at least for me, from my perspective, I'll speak for myself, Black History Month is not just about remembering our achievements and our accomplishments, but it's also about really taking a deep look into where we are going right in the future. So not just the past, also the future. I'm going to reflect because we did have one of our major icons pass. So I'm going to reflect a little bit on Jesse Jackson, how I remember him, what he has done. Even, we can't ignore there's some things that have happened, right? Like, ooh, I'll touch on it, but not too much. And really think about what his life teaches us about things like Black political power, coalition building, and radical hope. I was watching, as the news bubbled up of him passing. I think he was on Sesame Street. I am somebody. And all the little kids were repeating after him, and he was giving them affirmations. And I was like, that's the Jesse Jackson that I grew up with, that I'm familiar with. I remember the I am somebody and to keep hope alive. I don't know if anybody else remembers that. I'm Gen X. So that's it. Keep hope alive. And I am somebody. And I feel like I still feel that in my spirit. Yes, I am somebody. But before we get into the conversation, on Jesse Jackson and Black History Month, we have to do the scroll stroll. Yeah. I gotta find we gotta make a theme song for Scroll Stroll. The first one I saw this and was like, hold on. I was about to hit the floor. I was like, wait a minute. So DEI has come back defiant. DEI said, y'all not finna take me down without a fight. And DEI, at least in regards to education, has prevailed. And I'm like, yay. So as of February 18th, which was yesterday, the U.S. Department of Education, which, excuse me, side note, I thought they was finna shut down the Department of Education. Remember that? What happened? The U.S. Department of Education has effectively ended its efforts to enforce a nationwide ban on DEI in schools following a federal court ruling that deemed the initiative unlawful. The department dropped its appeal of a previous injunction, leaving in place a decision that permanently invalidates the February 14, 2025 directive that threatened to cut federal funding for DEI programs. So this is good news. Now, the funny thing about this is, as soon as this hit the social media, LinkedIn and Threads and stuff, people was mad. And the reason why people were mad is because, I don't know if you all remember, a lot of these schools, once this started to come down the pipeline, they preemptively started to draw back and dial back their DEI programs. Departments started closing, Black studies stuff all these things started to get pulled back. And a lot of people that know a lot about this topic were saying things like, wait, this can't stand, right? Hold on. But no, the university was like, so I started seeing on like LinkedIn and Threads, people saying, we don't forget, we have taken note of who folded first, who said, oh no, we have to end this thing because y'all caved when we didn't have to cave in the first place, right? And so that sends a message like, well, who are you really standing up for? Who are you really holding space for and being true to if something like this can cause you so quickly to just say, well, shoot, we're going to close up all the ethnic stuff, all the DEI stuff. No, don't do that because we don't want to lose our money. They were so quick to sort of run away from instead of trying to push back and fight. And now that it has fallen and DEI is again okay to do in schools, people are like, but we ain't forgot those that didn't stand 10 toes down when it mattered. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of conversations come up in the future around this thing. But as of now, DEI is defiant. It has fought back, pushed back. We good as far as the U.S. Department of Education is concerned, as far as our educational system here in this country. So, yay. We'll see what happens, though, because I don't know if this is the end. You know how when you get a win and you be like, this is a good win, but then something else come back and be like, bam, like, and you thought, dang, what happened? We will see. I don't know. All right. Next on the Scroll Stroll, magnificent Mardi Gras. Oh my gosh. So again, scrolling on social media, seeing beautiful pictures of Mardi Gras down in New Orleans, these costumes, and I'm apologizing if they're not called costumes. I mean, to me, this seems like a costume, right? So intricate, and maybe that's not even a good enough word because they're so intricate, so much detail. And it had to have taken months to put these costumes together, these outfits, these things together. Beautiful. I was talking to someone earlier down that way and they said, oh, everything ended yesterday, but it was beautiful. Lots of people out and about doing their thing. So I just wanted to share, like, if you are interested in seeing, go on Instagram, go on Threads, type in Mardi Gras. You will see all the beautiful I'm saying costumes because that's the first thing that's coming to mind. Again, if that's not what they're called, I don't want to offend, but they're gorgeous. The amount of artistry, amazing, and creativity. So I just wanted to share that because it was just so beautiful. The last one is Dashing Dentist. This is just this made me cackle and laugh. I just want to share it because this is funny. So again, on Threads has my heart, y'all. It says, I'm at the dentist and the dentist just ran away. Like I saw him run by the window in this parking lot. And everybody in the comments went to town. So I just screenshot this one. This one guy said he can't handle the tooth. Oh my God. Hilarious. And I'm thinking to myself, now, why would a dentist just like take off running? Like he working. I think about my dentist, Dr. Curtis. Like, why would he just all of a sudden take off running and be and be outside? Like, why would he do that? So I don't even know. I can't even think of nothing. But it was just so funny. Like it'd be all kind of it'd be informative stuff on threads. And then there's this kind of stuff that is just absolutely hilarious. And it's like, what? I don't even know where this came from, but it's hilarious. So I want to share that little funny with you because I laughed and hopefully you did too. All right, that's the scroll stroll. I'm gonna try to do a little bit more like a little bit more funny stuff. Sometimes I get a little too, sad, but I want to start to get a little bit more variety. So you'll see that in future scroll strolls. All right, we're gonna go to commercial. When we get back, we're gonna talk about Black History Month and the legacy of Jesse Jackson. See you in a bit.
Hey, it's Pastor Kim from It's Just Kim Live Show, and you're watching Pyro Media Network.
Hey, how y'all doing? Real quick, this is Daryl Walter, host of the Daryl Walter Show. I know. And you are watching Pyro Media Network.
And we are back. And before we go any further, I want to acknowledge that there were some comments that came through. Excuse me, Cyrus. Nobody didn't ask you about you clowning us West Coasters about what's cold. It's cold. I saw on social media somebody said even somebody from Boston is visiting and they were like, dang, it's cold. So therefore, it's really cold. It's cold. I was like, what's wrong? Is the refrigerator? Am I in the refrigerator? I don't know. It was cold. The heater was struggling. And it was trying, but it couldn't do nothing because it's cold. So I'm waiting for spring and summer to come on through so that we can get some warmth up in here and be happy. And then Vanessa said, yes, we have the big eyes open. Yes. And I assume this is in regards to the Department of Education and the whole DEI thing and how some of these universities straight up folded. Woo! Folded so quick, like a folding chair. Boop! Oh, we can't do that no more. Okay, snatched it. Didn't even push back. And I said, wait a minute, y'all supposed to be about free and open and education and ideas and things. And y'all said, oh no, we gotta take this out. And they just so quick to do it. So we gonna see what happens now in the backlash. It's 30-something degrees. I mean, I'm saying I feel like it very well may be 30 degrees right now in Los Angeles. I'm just saying. Why? Maybe. Why not? Because it is very cold. This the kind of cold I have. I had on a sweater, a shawl in the house, and the heater, and nothing was happening. So I'm just saying. All right, y'all. I forgot to also mention I have on my sweatshirt that I love so much. I'm gonna have to figure out a better angle to record. But my sweatshirt says, "Dear ancestors, I understand the assignment." And for me, the assignment is to tell the truth, to hold my family's history close to my heart, and to also share it and to share and spread love about my community to whoever wants to hear it, and to just be that public health Black girl magic person that I am. I think that's the assignment that I was given, and I'm holding to it. Yes. And at the end of the day, y'all can let me know if I did okay or not. I'm just really excited about that. But I love this sweatshirt so much. I forgot where I got it from. I have to look and see where I got it from and let y'all know. But it's amazing. All right, Black History Month. Sometimes, I hear conversations around like, oh my God, y'all make everything political. Why is everything about race? And why is everything political? Because everything is about race and everything is political. That's just the way it is. They're everything, especially when we talk about Black people, everything. And if you don't understand it, all you have to do is pay attention to the anti-Black racism that has been happening recently, going back to the video that we saw that was posted from the White House with the former president looking like an ape. Anti-Black racism is pervasive. It's not just here in this country. All over the world, people have been taught that we are at the bottom of the totem pole. So therefore, everything that we do is political. And the crazy thing is, they think we are at the bottom of the totem pole, but then they copy everything we do. Ain't that wild? That's wild. Y'all don't like us, but every time you turn around, everybody doing the same things we do. Crazy. Anyway, this year to me feels different as far as Black History Month. Black History Month, oh, by the way, is 100 years old. It's the 100th anniversary of Black History Month. Began 100 years ago. Carter G. Woodson is the one that said, we need to celebrate our achievements as a collective and get this out across the country. It started as Negro History Week and is now Black History Month. It was signed into federal law. I can't remember what year, but it has been the thing. And we celebrate. Yes. I think this year feels different because of the negativity that has been seemingly to come up very frequently in regards to Black folk. And I'm like, can y'all just leave us be? We just trying to live our lives just like anybody else. Can you leave us alone and leave us to ourselves? We're fine. Let us do our thing. You don't have to judge. You don't have to criticize. You don't have to actively oppress us. Leave us to do our own thing. I also am one of these folks that really feel strongly about focusing on and remembering our past, because when we remember and understand what happened before, we can learn from it and hopefully prevent negative things, bad things from happening again. So if you don't understand your history, you're bound to repeat it, right? So how do we make sure that we learn the nuggets of knowledge and jewels from our ancestors so that we can do things the way that, will benefit us as a community, as a collective. Also, I have the mindset that Black History Month or Black history, Black folk, we have to talk about this from a public health perspective. And it's like, well, where's the public health angle? Well, if you think about it, public health is a social justice institution. Black History Month and the struggles, the civil rights movement and all those things it was a social justice, endeavor. And so the focus was on things like addressing disparities and inequities. And public health also focuses on the same thing. Also in public health, we focus on how things like racism and oppression impact the health outcomes of communities. So for example, when I tell you something like Black people live X number of years or die X number of years earlier than non-Black people, that's a disparity or an inequity that is rooted in racism and other forms of oppression, right? There's issues around access to healthcare that we've been talking about for decades that, again, have an impact on our lives as a community, as a whole. And so to me, the civil rights movement or the understanding of Black history has a direct link to the very things that I talk about and care about in regards to public health. So that's kind of why this makes sense. And then also, I'm Black, so I'm gonna talk about my people because that's, what? That's just what I'm gonna do. So let's pivot and talk about Jesse Jackson, who did pass away. Was it this week or I believe over the weekend? Again, I'm Gen X. I remember Keep Hope Alive. I am somebody. That's kind of what I remember. I vaguely, again, I was probably 10 years old when he was trying to do his presidential bid and whatnot. So, and I also knew that he was a protege of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and that he founded the Rainbow Push Coalition. And it was really about this idea of multi-ethnic, multi-generational, identity coalition to get people to come together to work together on an issue or a multitude of issues. And it really reminds me, this is going to be a funny side story, y'all. When I was in junior high school, there was a teacher, I forgot her name. I see her face, but she was like really big on trying to bring different cultures together. So she had this idea, it was called Hands Across the District. And so I went to a predominantly Black school, and literally is right down the street. I live in a community where my junior high school still is. And they would bus in kids from, I'm going to say, the West Side. And they would try to have us kind of get together and hold hands and do good. We're all the same. And so that, it to me was a light example of coalition building. But of course, what Jesse Jackson did was way more on a larger scale, more at stake at the time. And I think it was important. Some of us have the thought that, we can do this ourselves. We don't need nobody else. But a lot of times it's like we have to think about this collectively. We have to think about this as a community. What happens to me today? Well, that's those people over there. Hold on, just keep living, because ultimately it will be you too. And that's why it's really important for folks on different sides of the table or different identities work together, because again, just because it's, this flavor this month doesn't mean it won't be you later on. And I think I talked about that a couple episodes ago. Like, now people are starting to wake up and realize, oh, so when y'all was hollering about Black people getting killed by police, yeah, I should have been paying attention, like y'all said, because y'all told us it would happen to us, and we didn't care, because we believe the stereotypes about who Black people are, and we felt like to some degree you probably deserved it. But now we understand that it doesn't really matter, that we were just, a couple years away from it being our turn. So I think the coalition building that Jesse Jackson was putting together was really about this idea that, wait, we are all in this together. And I wonder if we can ever get back to something like that. I'm not really sure. So he was I didn't know he was an ordained Baptist. Did I know he was an ordained Baptist minister? I probably did, but just kind of, slipped my mind there. From 1991 to 1997, he served as a shadow delegate. Now, I didn't know that. And shadow senator for the District of Columbia. Didn't know that. He was born in South Carolina, which is really cool to know. I didn't know that either. He began his activism in the 1960s and found the organizations that later merged to make the Rainbow Push Coalition. He expanded his work into international affairs in the 1980s. So again, if you just context, I was probably in elementary school, kindergarten, first grade at that time. He became a vocal critic of the Reagan administration. A lot of people were very critical of the Reagan administration. I think people to this day, when they think about what has happened in this country, they go right back like, baby, this wasn't even Bush. We got to go all the way back to Reagan. So he saw it even then, and I think a lot of people recognized it as well. He launched a presidential campaign in 1984. He was viewed as a fringe candidate, and I think that, as a Democrat, people were probably like, oh, he's going to polarize the party because, the non-Blacks are going to be like, who this man? He's going to splinter us up as a party. So I know there was even probably some pushback at the time against, him trying to launch his presidential campaign. He actually tried to run for president twice. So it was 1984 and then in 1988. So, he let it go after that. And then he did the shadow senator role in the 90s. And he was critical of President Bill Clinton at first, but then, he came around. And so it was really interesting, really, really interesting. The other thing I want to say too is on Threads, I started to see people after he passed, and this often happens, right? When someone passes, you do get the accolades. Oh my gosh, he was such a great man. But then you get the people that are like, well, I never liked him anyway. Or, this stupid term African-American that he pushed on us, but he didn't like it. And so I started to see those things. And then, thankfully there are people on threads that are knowledgeable, that have understanding of Black history in this country. They were like, the term African American did not come from Jesse Jackson. The term African American to describe Black Americans in the United States goes back to like the 1700s, 1800s. And then they actually showed us some publications with those terms. And I'm like, so why are they coining, or why are they trying to attribute this term to him? And then now being mad that they think that he brought this to us. Very interesting conversation that I saw on threads around that. Also, we got to be honest about some of the other things that happened in Jesse Jackson's life. He had a little baby on the side. I mean, a lot of our leaders that we revere and hold to a high standard oftentimes do things that disappoint us. And so it becomes a very interesting thing to think about their legacy in that way. Like, do we totally cancel that person? Do we give a measured and sort of honest reflection of the work against, the things that people do? I mean, there's things, I think I'm perfect, but there's things that I have done that I think if you knew, you'd probably be like, what? So, and hopefully when I'm dead, don't nobody say nothing. Leave it alone. Nicole was the public health girl. That's it. And the girl that did the pop-up shops. That's it. Nobody got to tell nothing else about me. But he also did some anti-Semitic remarks that, thankfully he apologized for. Oops, that was a mistake, and he did apologize for. What else happened? The baby. Initially, he said some, not so nice things about President Obama that he again apologized for. So really interesting stuff. Even, it looks like MLK was like, hey, he a little, he's on his own agenda. He's not looking out for the collective. So even as far as back then, people were like, But again, taking his entire body of work and effort, how do you reckon with that, right? Reconcile the good things with the very human things that have happened in his life. So it'll be interesting to see and hear how his legacy plays out over time. Cyrus, you're right. You're right. Name a white politician that hasn't had a baby on the side or some dirt in their closet. We always hit our own harder, but give them grace. I honestly was so confused by some of the comments. I was like, where is this coming from? And it was from some of folks that look like us. But to be fair, I did do that episode about these folks on social media. It appeared to be people that look like us. We don't know who it was in charge of the account. We don't know if it was a bot, but it was just kind of weird. I was like, why are we talking about this today? Can we talk about it tomorrow? Like, he died today. Give us a day. So it was really interesting indeed. And again, I think going back to what I was saying earlier, I am somebody, keep hope alive, those sort of messages that he pushed forward for young people to remind them, regardless of where you come from, you are someone and you have an opportunity to make a difference in the world. It may seem small, but I feel like they're very significant and important. I remember it. I'm 47 years old. I remember I am somebody. I remember keep hope alive. So it had some sort of an impact. Now, I don't know if it directly caused me to do, oh my gosh, I'm going to be this person. But again, the fact that I remember it to me is significant. So let's talk about it. What has changed? What hasn't? The things that were happening during the time of Jesse Jackson's heyday are still happening now. Things like voter suppression. We're hearing that over the last 20 years, states have erected barriers to the ballot box, right? Strict voter ID laws, cutting early voting times, restricting registration, purging voter rolls, all these things that have happened to really try to suppress people's ability to vote. And now we have this Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act that seems likely to make it hard for women to vote, because if their birth certificate or their documentation has their birth name and now they're married and it doesn't match, and are they going to be able to vote? I wonder if that would even be an issue. I haven't heard it. I hear more of it the married woman thing, but I also wonder if there's an issue with trans people, if they have their name assigned at birth versus the name that they use today. Would that cause them not to be able to vote? People assume, oh, just show up with you can go get your marriage certificate. People don't realize everybody doesn't have access or cash or money or time to go do these extra things, especially when there are already methods to prevent people from voting that should not be able to vote. I saw comments on threads like, hey, me and my wife, I was putting my mail-in ballot and I forgot to sign this. She signed my name, and a week or so later, we got a letter or email from the people saying we threw your ballot out because your signature didn't match. There's already processes in place that keep people that want to vote that shouldn't be able to vote from voting. So I don't know. I think this is a concerted effort to really keep folks from voting. And again, this is another reminder. Some of y'all say things like, oh, my vote don't matter. If it didn't matter, why are they working so hard to keep you from voting? Come on. If it didn't matter, why are they working so hard to keep you from doing it? If it didn't matter, why are they making it so hard to vote? Okay. Other things, this Black political representation. I think there are, in some spaces, we have a lot of Black political representation, but in some spaces we don't. Like, I was like, there's only one Black governor in the country. Like, and I was trying to think in my head, like, wait, is that right? So there's space for more. There's space for different types of Black people. We are not a monolith. We have a variety of identities in ways that we represent ourselves. And I feel like there's opportunity for more of that to be in our political spaces. I know some people feel like politicians are politicians, roll their eyes, but it's like, well, I mean, either you play the game or you don't. I mean, I don't know. That's another conversation for me, because I have that same struggle when I think about institutions like education and public health and healthcare. Like, well, if the ship is going to sail the way it was intended to sail, right? And you understand how systems are built, does it matter if we're there? So I don't know. I feel like we still need to make sure we are represented. But I also understand how people feel about politicians and feel like, well, they're playing the game and they're not really looking out for us. So I also kind of toe that line too, like, but I think I err on the side of we need to be in these spaces, at least for now, until we figure out something else. What's the alternative? Performative versus substantive leadership. So like folks that just get up in the camera and talk and at the end of the day, nothing really happens, versus folks that are really about it, right? That are really about making change. Pay attention to those folks. And then the tension between protest and policy. I feel like there's so many things happening, and I think that's on purpose, that we're kind of forced to be inactive. Like, we don't know what to do, right? There's so many things coming at one time. The solution for many of us is just to kind of freeze, which is a true actually response to trauma or fear, to freeze. But we need to get ourselves out of that and figure out how we can become more active as far as protesting goes, and also how we can enact policy change, because oftentimes policy change is what makes the difference. You saw what just happened with the ACLU, the Department of Education, and DEI. That was a policy shift and said, you can't do that. The judge said you can't say that DEI can't exist on college and university campuses. You can't do that. And that's a policy that was, put into place to protect people of varying identities. So I have some questions I was thinking about, and I'll put them forward, and then we'll just kind of move on. Is today's Black political class more integrated or more constrained? I don't know. Do we still build coalitions across race and class the way Jesse Jackson envisioned? I also don't know. I would say I feel like we're more polarized now than we've ever been. And so to me, the answer is no, because I think and I'm speaking from the perspective of a Black person, we feel like we can't trust right? We can't trust these folks on the other side of the room, or the folks with the other identities, the non-Black people, because we don't know if they're going to hurt us or if they're going to back away. I remember, I think it's Dr. Yaba Blay saying, I don't want an ally. I want an accomplice. I don't want the ally, because if you're an ally, you can decide to back away. Oh, this is getting too tough for me. Oh, you asking for too much now. And you can back up. An accomplice says, let's go. Where are we going? I'll drive. That's what you want. You want somebody that's in it, that's invested, because they understand that your struggle is their struggle. You don't want an ally. You want an accomplice. And so, the coalition building can be hard when you don't believe or feel that folks will be truly invested. Cyrus, you said, no, I think our focus is different than the times of civil rights movement. Everyone is looking at individual agendas instead of the good of the whole. Absolutely. I don't know what happened, because in kindergarten, they taught us how to share. They did. I know they did, because we watched Sesame Street and all of those things. And I don't know what happened, how we forgot it. Some of us, because I haven't forgotten how to share. I haven't forgot how to consider other people. Matter of fact, I would say that's often first the top of mind for me. Like, dang, even when I broke my ankle, I remember the first thing I said to myself when I was, like, dang, this is horrible. This whole thing is terrible. I said, what if I didn't have health insurance? What if I didn't speak English? What if I was neurodivergent? What if that was the first thing that came to my mind? Like, if I'm having a hard time, what is everybody else going through? And so some of us have retained that ability to think of the whole. And for some reason, the rest of y'all done forgot the lesson on Sesame Street about sharing and worrying about other people. I don't know what happened. We need to get back to that, because that's what the problem is. Very good point, Cyrus. Like, this is crazy. I think in other thing that you said, like we're not in the same space, is really important too. Like, what did his generation and those before him understand about sacrifice that ours struggles with? I think the fact of sacrifice, like we're not used to being uncomfortable. We don't want to give up anything, because baby, y'all was fighting over Target. Nah, I'm like, y'all can't even boycott Target right. Y'all can't even shop local right. Y'all can't, like, everything is always like, well, I don't want to do this. And it's like, what happened to getting on the same accord? What happened to understanding the assignment? What happened? Y'all not listening. So yeah, I think we have a different understanding, and it's been to our detriment, unfortunately. I think there are a lot of us that get it, but there's not enough of us that get it. And we have to figure out how to get everybody else on the same page. And I think with social media, it has shifted how movement building looks, because a lot of the stuff that was happening during Jesse Jackson's time, MLK's time, happened offline. There was no social media. We in the room having this conversation about strategy and what we gonna do. Here, man, somebody gonna telling all the secrets on the thread, right? And then it's like, well, now everybody sees it. So where's the strategy? Where's the thought process? So I just feel like we're in a different space, but we have to figure out how to leverage what we do have and bank on what has happened and the jewels that have been left behind for us to begin to build those movements. So in closing, because I didn't talk sometimes I worry, like, am I gonna have enough to talk about? And then I look down, I'm like, oh, it's time to go. Black history is not behind a window, the little museum thing. It's, to me, it's living. It's a montage of moments we replay, to me, every day. I think about it a lot. Black history to me is also instruction. It's also like, here's the guidebook on what to do next. When we reflect on our ancestors like Jesse Jackson, it's not just about him as a person, thinking about him as strategy, the coalition building, how we can bring those things back. Power is not given, it is organized. Folks like him marched, negotiated, built institutions, tried to run for office, understanding the importance of being in those spaces. even, he very well may have known, like, I don't even really have a chance, but I have to push. I think about Shirley Chisholm, the same thing. Like, still, I'm going to do this thing to chart this course to show that it can be done so that other people can come after me, right? This idea of keep hope alive, not blind optimism, it's discipline, hope, the idea that there is a future and that future includes us is really important. So just want to close with that and say, what he said, we got to keep hope alive. I think that's the only thing that really keeps me going, because it can be easy to say these institutions are built on a system of they don't support Black people. They don't care about people that have different identities except for the white, right, majority. And so it can be very depressing and give you a sense of like, well, we never gonna get out of this. But this idea of keeping hope alive is really what keeps me like, well, I have to continue to do what I know in my purview to try to make things better for the next generation of people that come after me. So rest in peace, Jesse Jackson. We're losing a lot of our greats. And I know there's a lot of great people that are coming up behind him. And they're out there now doing the good work. And I hope they are encouraged to continue to move forward and fight for us. Because, baby, it's a fight indeed. And we will continue to put this fight forward. All right, y'all. Thank you for watching this week. Let me give my ending little spiel. We're supposed to go to commercial. But we just we got to go to commercial. Producer, can we go to commercial? Do we need to, I done sat here and went off script. And okay, so let's go ahead and just close out this evening. Thank you for watching. You know where to find me. I'm on social media. I am on my website, www.NicoleDVick.com. I am thoroughly like, woo. I was so into my conversation. I didn't forgot what I'm doing. That's my website, y'all. It's beautiful. You can go there. You can see all about me. You can see previous episodes of Pushing Through Nicole D. Vick Live. And of course, Dr. VICKtorious. You can buy my books on my website. I think as of now, this website is the only place you can buy my books. I have 3 of them. Triumph in the Trenches is the most recent. It is an anthology. I'm one of 22 authors in that book. Pushing Through, Finding the Light in Every Lesson, and Push Through 52 to Light of Times. You can find me on social media. I am posting again, and I'm so excited about it. I am on Instagram. You can follow my personal Instagram. That's more like, hey, y'all, went to the pool today, like that kind of thing. Or you can follow Dr. VICKtorious, which is more of, hey, public health, workforce development, whoopty whoopty woo. And I'm also on LinkedIn as well. So if you need me to come out and talk, do a little keynote, facilitate a little meeting, do all kind of whatever trainings, holla at me. You can use the website to reach out to me. All right. Thank you so much for joining. I think next week I'm going to play a rerun of a previous Black History Month episode. I have quite a few, so I want to rerun one of those, and then we'll be back with some more new episodes. I will see y'all next time. Bye.
Thank you for watching Pyro Media Network. For more information, please visit pyromedianetwork.com.